Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to my podcast. My name is Lynette. Today we're going to talk about you being you. Have you ever noticed that when you're with certain people, whether it be friends, significant other, whatever, if you're doing something that is truly who you are, and you get this feeling that you shouldn't be, in other words, you're trying to conform to what you think they think is how you should be. But I want to tell you, I think God can really use you the best. And I think you become more of an individual when you are just being yourself. For years, I went on like this, and I'll give you an example. I was in, I think it was Reno or something, playing some slot machines, and I kissed the machine, which I know is probably kind of out there, but regardless, it's what I felt like doing. And the person that was with me made a gesture like, oh, that's so stupid. And I realized then and there that I have to be who I am. And now we're going to fast forward to, actually making this podcast, for example. It's very important that I'm true to myself and true to you. And I let God guide me. I can't speak on how I think people think I should speak. My goal is to hope that it resonates with some of you. So now more than ever, I let me be me. And there's a lot of freedom to that. When you stop and think about it, your parents expect you to be a certain way. Your friends expect you to be a certain way. Your significant other expects you to be a certain way. But the big picture is you have to be you. You have to be true to yourself. And I think that's all part of everything we've talked about. Working on yourself, being a leader, carrying yourself a certain way. And if you stop and think about the people who have really caught your attention, whether they be leaders, entertainers, friends, whatever, those that aren't so concerned about what other people think, but they are themselves, they are unique individuals because there's no one like them. I don't know, I feel like we live in a society where people have either learned to fake it well or to pretend to be something that they're not. I can tell even when I'm speaking to someone on the phone, if they're not being their true selves, I can tell by what they say. I can remember a previous conversation with certain people, and I guess they don't know that they've said this to me. And then they flip-flop and say it in a whole different way, making them not the person that they pretended to be early on. And so everybody can see through that. However, the biggest picture is, the point I'm making is that to be a leader, to be your true self, to live your best life, all the things that we mentioned, bringing you forward, is you being you. And don't be afraid to be you, because those that judge you, well, first of all, we're not supposed to judge. But second of all, nobody knows what's best for you. Only God knows. I feel like when you're connected to God and you're just being you, first of all, if there's a change that needs to be made, I think you will be nudged to make that change. But until that happens, just walk free. It's part of having absolute freedom, being yourself, because you're unique just the way you are. And that also goes for embracing yourself physically. I mean, everybody has things that they want to correct on themselves. But why do you want to correct it? Think about it. You want to correct certain things for other individuals to impress them more? Or do you want to do it for yourself, for your health, for all the right reasons? And the things that you don't like about yourself, Be happy you have those things. Embrace it. That is what makes you an individual. I believe that we're to be who we are right now, and God's job and God will build on from there. And as you grow, your personality will grow. It's almost like a chameleon. You might shed some ideas or some ways that you used to be and develop new ones. And it's so exciting because as you grow, your likes, dislikes, etc., everything changes and your body evolves with that. But if you do things for people, then it's not a natural process. It's kind of choppy. If you try to make your crooked line straight for someone else, it doesn't work because you become who you think they think you should be. None of that matters. To really like yourself, you have to embrace who you are right now, but be open to growth, be open to change. Be open to what God is doing to you and for you and developing you. If you truly, and I think we all should feel this way, that we want to be the person that we are meant to be. It doesn't mean we were born that way. It doesn't mean we're automatically going to be that way. Sometimes it takes uncomfortable situations to make us that person. But the point is, if you're open to be the person that you were meant to be, then you're open to the change. You're open to God guiding you. My friend used to always say, if you want to make God laugh, make a plan. And so we all have the desire to be or do something. But it's really important and necessary that we're open to what God has for us, the direction that He has for our lives. Because if we're open to that, His way is much better than our way. And with that being said, we don't know truly what's best for us. I think I shared this with you before. I know a young lady that went to college and studied agriculture, and I thought, agriculture for a young girl? I gotta say, I was a little taken back because the only thing about agriculture I knew was having orchards, etc. And she ended up working for a well-known supplier of Western clothing, shoes, and purses, having the time of her life, going to shows at rodeos, etc. And I personally never thought about that position, nor did I think it fell under the category of agriculture. So with that being said, keep your doors open, be flexible. Like I've said in the past, it's important that we keep goals in our head, directions we want to go, but don't be too resistant to change, to being guided in another direction. And if you're open to that, it's a win-win situation. Personally, I believe that the goals we have for ourselves are limited. And so we need to be open for the change, or we don't know what those particular goals that we have in mind are going to bring. So if we believe and trust in the best things for our life, in the best things that will happen to us, in being our true selves, being the person that we were meant to be. And by the way, I believe we all have a calling. I believe we are all supposed to be in a certain place. We are supposed to be who we were meant to be. We can fight that. We can resist it. But I think the rewards are when you go with it, when you literally just flow. And if we trust Him and we're on the wrong path, if we have a desire to do something that we're not supposed to do, I believe He will take away that desire. It's all part of shaping your direction. I don't think that most of the time God comes down and directly says, you need to shift gears, you need to go the right a little bit. I think it's more or less shaped with lessons, with trials. And we can either bend easy and make this walk easy in becoming who we are. Because remember, if we desire to be the person that we were meant to be, that means we're asking for guidance to be our best selves. And if we're not on track to be our best selves, then you're going to be reshaped, redirected. And so don't go to that redirection kicking and screaming. Just know that things happen for a reason. They happen to guide you to where you should be at that moment. And when you have that understanding, it makes life so much easier. You can look at trials in a different way. Instead of being the victim, you are really the chosen one who is getting guidance, which is wonderful. You ultimately end up with a life of peace, happiness, and gratitude. And maybe you're on the right track right now. Maybe you don't need to have trials and tribulations. But what you do need, what we all need, so long as we're still alive in this world, is to keep growing, to keep stepping forward, to be molded. I know I spoke with you last episode about the world becoming a broader place. And I think as you step forward and as you grow, you have more access to this world. You can relate more to it. You can relate more to the people of all races, colors, cultures. And it becomes so exciting. And the world actually seems smaller. But at the same time, it is broader because you have access to it. I remember a friend of mine telling me her son, he had a pretty stressful job. And when he changed jobs and his stress melted away, he said he felt like his arms kept floating up. And I think metaphorically that could happen, but I think in general, as we get on the path that we're meant to be on, I think our steps become lighter. Everything about us becomes lighter. Life is not so difficult. It's not so hard. I think sometimes we just simply make it hard. And it doesn't need to be if your goal is to be the person that you are meant to be. What's really exciting about it is that we never know how it's going to end up. It's almost like we're a piece of clay being molded, but it's exciting. I mean, like I said, you have to have your goals and you have to work on them, but there's a whole different level to it. There's a whole different component, and that's the excitement of trusting and being guided to who you were meant to be. I believe that change is never ending so long as you're alive, so long as your goal is to be better and better. And I'm not talking about when you get older and retire, because even then you grow in a different way. You grow as a grandfather, grandmother, farmer, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. There's changes. And so long as we're alive and we keep growing year by year, there's going to be changes. They're infinite, but yet they're exciting. And every one of them you can meet with grace because you are truly on your own path. This path is designed for you and you alone, and nobody else is going to be on your exact path. And that's what makes you a unique individual. And that's because it's you being you, and that's exactly where you're supposed to be right now. Always remember, you being you. I think we live in a world where we feel like we have to deprive ourselves of so much. And why do we do that? If something makes us happy, just enjoy your life. I think you should enjoy your life, so long as it's not something that's going to hurt you or anybody else or illegal. But I know the times that I think, oh, I shouldn't eat sugar anymore, or shouldn't do this, shouldn't do that. And so I give it up and I find myself being miserable. And if I just kind of give into it, I mean, not making it a daily habit or substituting breakfast for donuts, that kind of thing, but using common sense, I think we should make ourselves happy. We depend on us to make ourselves happy, and that's how it should be. We should not depend on other people to make us happy. And if you're truly in tune with God, He will guide you. Trust me. He will guide you. And I think now more than ever, the skies are open and the sky's the limit to be guided at this time. So I'm excited for you on your new journey, on your new path. We're all in this together. We're all changing. We're all evolving. And thank God for that. With that being said, I hope you all have a wonderful week. And I will talk to you next week. Thanks. Bye-bye.